You still love each other, you're just not feeling in love. In an intimate relationship, you want intimacy. You want that passion and attraction and desire. When you don't create the environment and the culture where it makes sense to be intimate, you can fall into just feeling like roommates.
What is masculine? What is feminine? There was no motivation. I was hating my work. I was very depressed. I wasn't suicidal, but just very depressed. Like there was no hope. And so I just had to start taking some actions. First step is honesty. Like where are you actually at? How are you actually feeling in your body? I'm curious about, am I really playing to my natural energy and starting to take some steps towards it?
I started to appreciate these energies and then just let yourself imagine and explore what could be possible for you if you changed your belief and your story about these different energies. And that is where it gets exciting. And you can start to respect the opposite energy, which
powerful.
Is really powerful.
So powerful. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Save My Marriage podcast. Today we're going to be talking about from roommates to lovers again, the real truth about masculine and feminine energy. Hear from a lot of people that this is a big problem. They don't have what we call polarity. There's no real attraction and they're feeling more like roommates than teammates or lovers. And so we wanted to dive into this and unpack it. It can be spoken about sometimes in a very mystical way and it's hard to understand. So we just want to make it very simple and practical so you can understand what it's all about. So if you're experiencing this episode is going to be great for you. We're going to unpack what it is, how it happens, and how to overcome it.
Yeah, so the roommate stage, a lot of people go into it, and we're not going to lie, we did too. But it's not meant to be a chronic stage that you stay in forever. So the roommate stage happens when your relationship becomes just functional. So it's like living with a roommate. You can manage life together, you're paying bills, if you've got children, like all the kids' needs are being met, but there's no connection. There's no us anymore. It's like we've lost ourselves in the busyness and the doing and the functioning. You still love each other. You're just not feeling in love because there's just, it's become very platonic, and friendships are platonic and they're great. But for a intimate relationship, you don't get into an intimate relationship to just be managers or like to just be kind of running life together. That's not why you get into an intimate relationship. And in an intimate relationship, you want intimacy. You want that like passion and attraction and desire. And especially in long-term relationships, there can be a bit of a pattern where when you don't prioritize it, when you don't create the environment and the culture where it makes sense to be intimate, you can fall into just feeling like roommates and, functioning well together, but there's no playfulness, there's no fun, there's no joy. And it just becomes quite depressing.
Yep.
And we've had stages like that, so I'm not judging you. It's good to feel comfortable with your partner. Like, yes, it's good to feel comfortable. We feel very comfortable with each other. And, the chemistry you felt in the beginning of your relationship isn't something that will, last forever. But you don't have to settle with roommates. You actually can reconnect as lovers and still function in your life. And there are certain things you need to understand about masculine and feminine energy so that you actually can turn that roommates stage around.
Absolutely. What do they need to know next? If they're having this problem, if it's showing up for them on a daily basis and they know that they're not living in their natural energy, maybe first of all, define the terms. Let's talk to what is masculine, what is feminine, just a brief understanding.
Yes.
And how do they know if they're out of balance in their relationship?
So there is two energies, masculine and feminine. Every single human being has both. So just because I'm a woman does not mean I don't have masculine energy. And that is something to really be aware of. Sometimes when people talk about this, there's this assumption that because you're a woman, you have to be feminine, and that's it. But that is not how energy works. You have both within yourself, and then you also have a dance of those energies in your partnership, in your relationship. So I know for me in the beginning, and for many women probably listening, I came from the generation before where we fought for women's rights, which was amazing, and the whole feminism movement. But what happened is we basically started to tell women that they needed to be strong, independent women And it kind of left out a lot of the feminine qualities and kind of made a lot of women feel like in order for me to get ahead in life or be successful, I need to adopt all the qualities of a man. We already have some masculine qualities in ourselves, but it kind of went too far where I know for me, I didn't see growing up a lot of women embracing their feminine qualities. I saw a lot of, and I was told a lot of, like, don't be too sensitive, don't let your guard down, don't trust a man, you don't need anyone to help you do it, you can do it yourself. And yes, I'm all for like independence, but it got to a place where, empowering women meant disempowering men. And I don't think that was ever meant to be the intention, but somehow the message got lost. And now we're kind of dealing with the aftermath of that. And I really am committed to trying to turn it around for our children and the next generation. And I got to this place because it created a challenge in our relationship. So like 6 or 7 years ago now, I found myself, feeling very hyper masculine, and I was very productive. I was always doing things. I would say things like, I can do it myself. I don't need your help. And I was kind of telling this story that I'm doing everything on my own. I'm doing it all. And this is what happened with feminism. It started to actually be a story that women started to tell themselves that I can do it all on my own. I don't need anyone. And it kind of conditioned us out of support. And I found myself in this situation, 2 kids, only a couple of years apart, and trying to work, trying to do all the things, still trying to do it all on my own. And I was burning out. I was losing my hair. I was exhausted. I was resentful. Our marriage was not in a good place. And I suddenly realized that I had been really spending too much time in my masculine. So yes, the masculine is about the qualities of doing. It's goal orientated. It's productive. It's about planning, organizing, structure, all of the things that we really value in the world today. But we've really forgotten the other side, which is the feminine. And those qualities are like being, resting, playing, pleasure, having fun. It's the journey, not just the destination. Like, how do I feel? Honoring my needs, listening to my body, creativity, intuition. Like, it's all those other amazing parts of ourselves. And feminine energy is really about your fulfillment of life. Whereas masculine energy is more about the science of achievement. So we actually need both. It's like yin and yang. Everything in life works better when we have a balance of both. But what we see in a lot of relationships today, and it happened to us as well, is either you've swapped energies. So like Adam was talking about, what is your natural energy? Although I had been practicing masculine energy for a long time and I was really good at it, the feedback I got from my body was that wasn't my natural energy because I was exhausted, I had headaches, I wasn't sleeping, I was losing my hair. Like, my body wasn't operating at optimum. So although feminine felt unfamiliar at the time, I realized, well, I actually think that's my natural energy, because if I didn't have to do everything, like, I'm actually feel called and inspired to rest, to play, to have fun, and all those things. So if you're listening to this, and I would probably say 80 to 90% of people listening are probably in their masculine energy, because that is what works well for the productivity of the world. And it's not just if you're a woman. I meet men all the time that are really good at their masculine energy, but they have completely neglected the feminine side. And like, that showed up for you, and it shows up as like not meeting your own needs.
It does, yeah. And there's this wounding for men around because of some of the things you may have heard or experienced as a child around, big boys don't cry, just get on with it, and being seen to cry. If you go back a generation or two, crying as a young boy was seen as weakness. And so there's men working through that today where they don't feel safe to cry or show emotion. And that was my journey. I didn't feel safe. And that's the feminine side. So I was basically abandoning or neglecting my feminine parts and my emotion and the softness and being in tune with how I was feeling, which then obviously made it very, very hard for us to connect. Because if you're neglecting a part of you, so if you're a woman and you're neglecting the masculine part of you, it's going to be very hard to then fully appreciate
it in
and
your
honor
partner.
in your partner. So that's also part of the dance.
Yeah.
So you both have both energies, and it's always going to be in flux. You're always moving between them depending on what you're doing, and you can literally, with a decision, you can choose to be one or the other.
Definitely.
But we need to look at what are we being the majority of the time, and is it really working for us? Are you feeling energized? Are you feeling good in your body? Or are you feeling exhausted? Are you feeling like you're lacking motivation?
Yeah.
Are you feeling like you just want to give up? And it's just a clue. It's a clue to what you may need to start doing a bit more of or a bit less of. And that was the signal I had to look at. I had to look at the fact that there was no motivation. I was hating my work. I was very depressed. I wasn't suicidal, but just very depressed. Like there was no hope for life. And so I just had to start taking some actions. And the first step is honesty. Like where are you actually at? How are you actually feeling in your body? And then getting curious about, am I really playing to my natural energy and starting to take some steps towards it? What I want to talk about now is just very quickly, if we could just point out a few signs that they're in that roommate stage.
Yes.
We've touched on a few. I'll start with a couple. So physical affection feels awkward, or it's rare. Maybe the conversations like we talked about are just going around logistics. So the kids and the shopping and the bills.
You could also be competing. This was happening a lot in our marriage.
Yeah, because masculine energy does do that, where it competes.
Yes. Well, where I kept trying to like steal your man card and like wear the pants. And I see this all the time. Like I hear from women, they're like, oh, well, we're equals. Yes, but equal doesn't mean you're the same. So both the energies are equal, but they're not the same. And they have different expressions, different qualities, different strengths. And when I was in my masculine and you were trying to be in your masculine, we would be competing with our energy. And then you felt like, well, why do I even bother trying? Because you're just going to step on my toes and you're going to redo it, or you're going to criticize me. So it could be showing up like that. I see it a lot as competition, trying to be the same. And if you're being the same, you won't have chemistry. You need that magnetic pull of the opposite energies. That is what creates chemistry. So you'll probably be friends, but not have any chemistry or attraction or desire. There won't be much fun or laughter or spontaneity. It'll be very mundane, very boring, very routine. And you may actually start to crave space. You may not want to be close with each other because it feels off. When you're not in your natural energy and they're not, it doesn't feel great. And often you will actually swap energies. So for a while, I kept going in my masculine, which would push Adam into his feminine. And he would just lay on the couch and not want to do anything and have no motivation and no drive. And that was unattractive to me. Like, I was turned off because you looked like you had no drive, no direction, no plan. And you were turned off because I was like this bossy, critical, like taskmaster. And it's the opposite of what you're attracted to.
Exactly. And we hear this a lot. So that's probably the most common pattern we see from working with thousands of couples, is that the women are trying to do the masculine role. And it's pushing the men away. And so the men will, like Aston said, they crave space. So they'll actually work more, or they'll spend more time out of the home. Or they'll avoid you more or shut down more, because what's the point engaging with a woman who's not willing to be receptive? Who doesn't let you lead, who doesn't let you make decisions, who's not open to your perspective and your way of doing things. I can be masculine at work. And I can succeed there. And I get all the things over there, like the praise and the respect and the, and achieve some things over there. So if this is happening for you, it's definitely fixable. You're not stuck there.
Alone.
You're definitely not alone. It's very common. A lot of women experience this and a lot of men experience this. So, but this is just an invitation to look at what's your relationship to your feminine or your masculine. So what we'd love to do now is just very quickly how to turn it around. What are the quick, simple steps that people can take to turn this around if it's out of balance?
Well, step one, listening to this podcast, you've expanded your awareness. You can't change something you can't see. So you've started to see yourself in this. So you've already started to build your awareness. So step one is awareness. Step two is to take the feedback. Like we shared, we had to take the feedback from our life. How am I feeling in my body? What's my sleep like? What's our intimacy and like affection? Are we affectionate? Do we spend time together? How do we feel in each other's company? Is there any intimacy? Because usually your intimacy will stop or your connection will be zero when there's no chemistry, when there's no polarity.
Or we used to have love droughts.
Like
we'd be intimate and then we'd have like
like
could even
months.
be months without any
Some
intimacy.
couples have years.
Yeah, we've heard that as well. So what we want you to do is make a little change from after listening to this podcast, and then take the feedback. Like, are we feeling more connected?
Yeah.
Is my partner responding differently to me? And then if it's still the same, you might need to keep shifting and try different things.
Well, I would then say the third step, once you've taken the feedback, is start to get curious about masculine and feminine energy.
Yep.
Learn what you don't know.
Yep.
Come to one of our retreats, the Recreate Your Relationship retreat, or come and ask us about Save My Marriage School. We focus a lot on polarity and masculine, feminine energy.
Yep.
Go and learn what you don't know and you don't understand about masculine and feminine energy. And it's not your fault you're not taught this at school. You likely didn't get taught from your parents.
Yep.
And you likely saw your parents not modeling their natural energy. So a lot of women were raised by really critical, hard women. So they didn't see softness. And so what happens is you then make softness wrong and you say, well, I don't identify as feminine because I'm not soft. Well, there's so much more to feminine. Like, that is the fourth step, I would say, is go and we put some questions here, is go and ask yourself some questions around what it means to be feminine. What does the feminine mean to you? I can almost guarantee that if you're not allowing yourself to be feminine, you've got a negative association to it. And a lot of women have been conditioned to believe that feminine energy is weak or it's too submissive.
It's less than.
It's less than. So if you have any of those beliefs and stories about being feminine, it's understandable why you don't want to be feminine. So you might need to update your belief of feminine. And I encourage you to do this also for the masculine. So asking yourself, what do I believe about the masculine? And, do it for both of you. So I'm a woman, but I need to ask myself both questions. What do I believe about feminine and what do I believe about masculine? Because it'll show you your relationship to it in yourself and why you can or can't be feminine or masculine. 2, it'll show your relationship to your partner. I've asked women before, what's your relationship to the masculine? What do you believe about men? And things come out like, well, they're useless. I don't understand why they think like that. How do they get anything done? And they've got all this really negative stories and associations and beliefs from the patriarchy. And it's not necessarily like no child is born thinking that they're better than the other sex. Again, no baby
100%.
is born and going, I'm a woman, I'm better than a man. Or no man, no baby boy is born and is like, I'm better than my sister. We have one of each in our kids, a boy and a girl, and they love and celebrate the differences in each other. So it's not who we are. We have to remember that. This is not who we are. We've been conditioned to fight about our differences. And this is why there's this war in the world about it. But how we heal it is we get curious about our differences and we see how they're meant to be working together and helping us and supporting us. So I really would love you to reflect on that. What do I believe about men and women and masculine and feminine energy? And just free write everything. Don't judge yourself because you likely didn't choose these beliefs. They were just imprinted on you. But then the empowering thing is to ask yourself, well, what would change if I started to respect both of these energies? What would be possible for myself and who I could be, and even for my relationship, if I started to appreciate these energies? And then just let yourself imagine and explore what could be possible for you if you changed your belief and your story about these different energies. And that is where it gets exciting, because once you can change your belief and your story about it, you can then start to embody it. You can then start to believe and identify as your natural energy. And you can start to respect the opposite energy, which
it's powerful.
Is really powerful.
So powerful. So we hope you found that helpful, guys. We've loved all of you guys tuning in and listening. We really appreciate all the feedback that you've been sharing. That is one thing that you can do to really help the show. We really want to get this message out to more couples who are struggling right now. So if you could do one thing for us, we'd love you to just go and review and rate the podcast, whichever platform you're on. It means the world to us. It just really helps the show to expand and reach more couples.
Definitely.
And until next time, take care.